Sidmouth 2018, a week-long festival in the sunshine featuring over 750 events. Folk song and dance takes over the Devon resort. Here's my video diary. With more Morris sides than you can shake a stick at, stalls and musicians along the promenade, and a rich and diverse programme, there's something for everyone here. It's a folky paradise. With impromptu displays on the streets and sessions seemingly taking place in every hotel, bar, nook and cranny, Sidmouth offers many hidden charms, not least the English country music session in the Radway. Extra offers something else again, a chance to let off steam and hear some cutting-edge bands, cutting a rug for a slightly younger, dare I say hipper, dance crowd.
Hi, it's Simon here from Banter to everybody at Campfire Convention. Yeah, it's Sidmouth, late night extra, one of the best things you can possibly do. And it was a delight once again. I hope to see everybody somewhere else and carry on enjoying life and festivals.
Here comes Bonnie Kay.
Band is Timothy Walker on drums and trumpets, probably the only person doing that around at the moment. Myself, Simon Kerr on squeeze boxes, you might know me from Edward II, and the wonderful, talented singer and keyboard player, Nina Zeller, who spent many years playing piano bars and doing kind of jazzy type gigs, not necessarily a jazz pianist, but she likes to find the elusive chord. So I hope you enjoy what we're doing and hope to catch up with you somewhere. See ya.
this is Vlog speaking. I was the caller with Banter on Monday night at Sidmouth. And Sidmouth means to me everything. It's a holiday. It's a week of being with wonderful people. It's a place where everybody is loving and tolerant, but nobody's a pushover. I love calling. I love dancing and inspiring people to discover traditional music and dance. Ceilidhs are the most accessible mechanisms for anybody to access folk. It's not an invitation to share a mortgage, although it can be. It's just a dance, and it doesn't get anywhere better than Sidmouth's Late Night Extra.
God, that was worth doing then.
Well worth doing, I'd say. As I walked back to my camper van, after a rather sweaty session, I reflected on the first year we were up at the Bulverton. In fact, I'd programmed and MC'd the first version in 1990. And we'd had a stellar cast from the Oyster Band and Edward II through to Abdul TJ's Rokoto and, of course, the Barely Works. It was marvellous. One person I didn't book that year was Pete Coe, much admired singer-songwriter and political activist and irritant. But I caught up with him this year.
The clouds are rising, the lightning flashes. Oh, believe me, these words are true. But fire cleanses while water washes. Oh, believe me, these words are true. I'm plague and famine, buried in the ashes. Oh, believe me, these words are true. And that's the fourth of the 7 warnings. Oh, believe me, these words are true. Now southern breeze.
So I'm talking to Pete Coe. I was going to ask him, Sidmouth, what does it mean to you?
Well, I first came down here in 1966 as a student when it was all very sort of low-key. It was still mainly a dance festival. But eventually the song side, grew bit by bit. And although I haven't been down every year, we've been down, I think, most years, over the years and seen it grow. And of all the festivals that I've played over the years, which is most of them actually, this is still my favourite, and I think it's still the best. Certainly in most recent years, because Alan Behrman is just such a good artistic director. He knows who to book for the big stage and for the smaller stages and the intimate sessions and the workshops and so on and so forth. And it's just a great combination, and whilst it's nice to play on the main stage, that's not the most important thing for me here. It's some of the smaller stages and some of the workshops that that I'm asked to do. So that's what it is. So of all the festivals, not only is it my favourite, it's the best.
And that's the last of the 7 warnings. Oh, believe me. Well, song, thank you very much indeed. They bought up the farmer who owns the land. Sour the milk, bitter the wine, bitter the brine.
And in fact, I'm working on the political side of folk song has always been important to me. But I'm working on, at the moment, on a repertoire of songs that are based on the ballads and songs that were written immediately after Peterloo, and I'm working with Brian Peters and Laura Smith, and we're all from the northwest. Okay, I live in Yorkshire now. I went over to the dark side, or Mordor as they call it sometimes, years ago, but I'm still a northwesterner in origin. So we're looking at all the songs and ballads, many of which have just been published this month actually, in a book called Ballads and Songs of Peter Lou, and that brings up all the political songs of the time, and you look at it and you think, well, what's changed? And with Peter Lou, all the troops kettled. Yeah, okay, well that's and there were informers around, you think, oh yeah, right, yeah, that's why the Chartists never got a revolution, because the upper classes in England were petrified about the fallout from the French Revolution, so they just filled all these demonstrations with informers. Yes, okay, well, yeah. So what's changed? Yeah, so that that gives us a chance to re-engage with some of the more political side of folk songs. It's all very well to say, oh well, it's all in the past, it's all romantic and all that sort of stuff. Hang on, there's more to it than that.
I was going to suggest, where's it all going politically? What have you got a reflection on?
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, there are so many opportunities for songs these days, but the problem is that the political situation is just changing day by day. That you could write a really good song, and within a couple of days it's out of date. And I've always been one really a little bit, rather than. I suppose 7 warnings is a lot of generalisations, and you interpret them as you will. But with things like the Waves of Tory and Soul Down the River Again, they were very specific. Really, I've always been in favour of naming names and giving their addresses as well. But it's just so difficult at the moment, for me anyway. And maybe my writing days are done. We're having to adapt to a lot of these broadsides because they were written in sort of Victorian poetical terms in some cases. These Peter Lou ballads. And part of the problem was that all the Hanlon weavers were firstly patriotic and firstly religious, and you think, well, that's one of the reasons. Oh, well, that's 2 of the reasons why you were in that situation in the bloody first place. You were under the thumb of religion and under the thumb of patriotism, and that's the situation you find yourself in. And hence Peter Lou. It's nice to get the politics back in again, because they shouldn't be avoided.
They used to have it up at the park over there. They used to have a stage and a theatre, didn't they? Yeah. But since then, the problem was with the weather, getting the insurance. So they stopped doing that up there, and then it spread out over the whole town now. And now it's just escalated.
Bigger again now.
Year on year, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just amazing.
Big festival. I mean,
yes,
the music is only part of it.
Yeah.
Like the Fringe.
It's like the Fringe.
But smaller scale.
Yeah. Do you go to the main thing that you pay for?
Bulverton. Well, we're going to the Ham Arena tonight.
To
watch a group tonight, aren't we?
Yeah. That's in the marquee. That's
yes.
the big marquee.
Yeah, just down there. Yeah.
But there's the ham and then there's a Bulverton in there.
But that's on the festival side of Bulverton.
There's like a bit of a Glastonbury side as you're going out of town, where they have a big marquee and thing up there, don't they? Camping up there. Yeah, it's just everywhere you go, because a lot of the artists they come and play on the front anyway.
Any spread we found.
Anyway, every nook and cranny.
Just behind a tree near the library.
Yeah.
And they were really good. They'd just come in this parade. There's only 4 of us.
Yeah.
Did you have to be invited to this parade?
Yeah, this is the official one. Tomorrow morning there's an amateur one.
It seems every second person you meet here in the street is a singer, a dancer or a musician. And it was my thrill to be back on the late night shuttle bus heading back to the Bulverton campsite to hear singing of the quality that you're getting here. Just listen up.
Sing John Paul and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. And I'll crow like a cock and I'll carol like a lark in the light that is coming in the morning. Sing John Paul and tell it to them all. Long live the day that is dawning. And I'll crow like a cock and I'll carol like a lark in the light that is coming in the morning.
Very lucky with the weather. At least a few days I was in Sidmouth, and I did steal off to the beach for an hour or two when I was a bit overwhelmed by folk music. But you come back and you just hear stuff like this on the seafront and it would just suck you in again. So wonderful. Right opposite the churchyard, where we've just got a spontaneous display of tribal drumming. We're in probably Sidmouth's best pop-up pub, and do you want to tell us about it?
So we've got a licence here for a week. We just hold the outdoor bar, so we've got an ale and then 3 ciders. So we've got the Old Rosie, the Happy Slapper, and the Orchard, Sanford Orchard, at £3 a pint, so it's not too bad, quite cheap compared to a lot of the others. We're just here all week. We do also have a salad bar, 12 till 6, which is just unfortunately closed. So it's all going well.
And what's the name of the bar?
1922. And then this one's just, obviously we've still got the bar anyway, so it's a social club, but obviously we're allowing non-members during the week. So.
Was born one morning, sun and shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked to the mine. I loaded 16 tons of Northern man coal and the straw ball sand. Well, bless my soul, you loaded 16 tons. And what do you get? Another day on the rent, deeper in debt. Sing, Ceilidh, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go.
So it was back to the late night extra, and one last rock steady workout from the wonderful Banter.
From Banter.
Miss Nina Zella on piano, total jazz queen.
Our music is based predominantly around the stompy English, Morris and session tunes, but with influences of pop and soul, jazz and reggae, or anything that's come into our brain since birth. We also have Timmy in the band, who plays drums and percussion and brass all at the same time. Obviously that adds a new edge to our music as well.
The idea of a week-long festival really appeals to me, even though I only made 4 days this year. But I left with a wide smile on my face and a whole host of memories. Sidmouth, be seeing you.
Jazz queen.